I got a feeling DDP wins that.
I have Khamzat.
I don't.
Yeah.
If Khamzat can get done the first round and a half, maybe, I just think that thing goes past the third and DDP takes over.
I can't doubt Plessis, bro. Every time any questions that I've ever had or any doubts I've ever had about him, fucking comes out and he wins.
As the MMA world counts down to the blockbuster title clash between Khamzat Chimaev and Dricus du Plessis, some of the sport's biggest names have weighed in with their final prediction, breaking down strengths, weaknesses, and potential paths to victory. Starting things off, Jamahal Hill offered a critical look at Chimaev's performance against Kamaru Usman, highlighting a tendency to fade in the later rounds. Hill acknowledged that while Chimaev is the more technical and well-rounded grappler, his cardio remains a red flag that could prove costly in a drawn-out battle.
Yeah, I've seen Chimaev fades towards the end of fights. As we've seen with the Usman fight, I think if the Usman fight was 5 rounds, I believe Chimaev might lose that fight. You know, the striking, I believe, is kind of like neck and neck, but from what I've seen as far as like the grappling, I believe Chimaev is the more technical, well-rounded grappler, if you will. And but du Plessis is strong for that weight class. So it's an interesting match.
And Khamzat, we've seen Khamzat fade. We've seen Khamzat fade over the course of rounds before. And I just believe Dricus has a really, really awkward way of throwing strikes that's not easy to time and get a read on. So I believe he will land, and when he lands, it obviously has devastating effect. So,
building on that analysis, Hill leaned toward du Plessis, citing the South African's consistent ability to silence critics. For Hill, DDP's grit and ability to rise under pressure could once again tip the scales in his favor.
I can't doubt du Plessis, bro. Every time any questions that I've ever had or any doubts I've ever had about him, fucking comes out and he wins.
I probably favor DDP in that one, just for the simple fact of I've doubted this dude so many times now, and he's shut me up bad every time. So, and I've come to understand like how his posture kind of works, which it may look like he's like fatiguing or he's like slowing down, but he's really not. You know, I think he's got the better cardio, and I believe he could be his physical strength, I believe, can pose a problem for anybody in that division. I probably lean more towards DDP, but you can't kind of count a guy like Khamzat out. I believe he's one of the best natural pure grapplers in the sport, and he does have an ability to throw some hands too. So it's interesting.
Echoing similar sentiments, Brendan Schaub also backed du Plessis, stressing that if Chimaev cannot get the job done within the first round and a half, the momentum will inevitably start to shift. Schaub predicted that as the fight moves past the third round, DDP's relentless pressure and durability will wear Chimaev down, leading to a potential late TKO finish.
Who you got in that? Let's start with that. Khamzat, DDP, who you got?
I got
a feeling DDP wins that.
I have Khamzat.
I don't.
Yeah.
If Khamzat can get done the first round and a half, maybe, I just think that thing goes past the third and DDP takes over.
I haven't seen him get tired.
I've seen Khamzat get tired.
Yeah.
And Khamzat's way better strength of schedule.
But I've also seen
way
Khamzat
better.
training now, and he trains like a fucking monster.
Have you seen DDP train?
No.
Speaking of monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just could be totally off on Khamzat. He's a minus 200. Dude, take my fucking money.
Really? You got DDP?
Yes. Especially as a dog.
However, Darren Till acknowledged the threat Dricus du Plessis brings to the table, making it clear he's not overlooking the South African. However, Till predicted that Khamzat Chimaev would get the job done inside 2 rounds. He admitted it's a tough matchup, but emphasized the intensity of Chimaev's training, calling him an absolute beast in the gym. For Till, that work ethic could be the key to a quick and decisive finish.
If I went back to the UFC now, I was the middleweight I could be, I'd fucking tear that Dricus' head off. Tell Dricus I said fuck him, by the way. The little fucking gobshite. Because I can't stand his guts, because he's so good.
You think he beats Khamzat, your boy?
No, look, I'm with respect, I'm never going to look past Dricus, because he trains hard, he's super dedicated, he's super strong, and he's got that awkward style that doesn't make any sense. I think Khamzat will beat him inside the 2 rounds, I really do believe that. But look, Khamzat knows. I was speaking to Khamzat on the FaceTime the other day because I'm meant to be going out to Dubai to help with the camp. Khamzat knows it's a tough fight, but you know, Khamzat trains like a beast. I do think Khamzat gets it in 2 rounds done.
Backing that idea of an early onslaught, Michael Bisping broke down Khamzat Chimaev's likely approach with no hesitation, expecting Chimaev to charge in full throttle, look to lift Dricus du Plessis off the canvas, and unleash chaos early. Bisping described Chimaev as going berserk from the opening bell, hunting for a fast finish. But he warned that if Khamzat can't get DDP out of there within the first 2 rounds, the tide could turn fast. In Bisping's view, once fatigue sets in and Chimaev starts to mentally check out, the fight could quickly slip away.
He's going to go full steam ahead. Khamzat Chimaev's going to go right at him. He ain't going to fuck about. He's going to swing for the fence. He's going to pick him up. He's going to try and slam him down. He's going to go berserk. He's going to go mental. And that's what we love about him. And that's why we can't wait to see this fight. But if he doesn't get him out of there in the first round or the second round, and he's starting to gas come round 3 and round 4 and round 5, he is looking to be anywhere else but in the middle of the octagon in the United Center, right? Dricus du Plessis is going to take over. And that man is a big, powerful son. And he is a finisher as well. I can't wait for it, but I just think the fact that Khamzat is the favorite, I think that's a little disrespectful to Dricus du Plessis and what he's been doing in this sport.
Sharing his own nuanced take, Henry Cejudo labeled the matchup as a stylistic chess match. He acknowledged Chimaev's superior grappling technique, but pointed out that DDP's unpredictable style and constant pressure could break the rhythm of the undefeated contender.
DDP, Dricus du Plessis, that brings in the grappling, that necessarily doesn't have the best hands, but the fact that he brings in the grappling and that he likes to scramble and he doesn't stay on bottom and he's looking to get up, that's what makes that fight, to me, problematic for a guy like Khamzat Chimaev. Against DDP, I just don't know if those championship rounds, the fact that Khamzat has not been there in those championship rounds, could affect him. Like I've done probably more championship rounds, 5-rounders, than I have on the three round fights. And I tell you what, by the time the 3rd round hits, 4th, 5th, that's when these championship rounds really take place. It's from the 4th on 5th, but really the investment is done in the 3rd, and the championship rounds, you win the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and this is how you become a champion.
Despite being impressed by Chimaev's performances against elite opponents, Cejudo admitted that du Plessis presents a very different challenge, one that might stifle Khamzat's usual dominance and make things uncomfortable inside the cage.
Does Khamzat beat DDP?
Man, Khamzat could beat anybody in the world in about a round. It's super impressed with what he did to Robert Whittaker. I don't see that against DDP. DDP's scrambling, man. You're going to need to really be able to pace yourself for 5 rounds. And with DDP's train just continue to keep rolling and he's still steaming and his train's still hot, it depends on how long.
Meanwhile, Caio Baralho has thrown his support behind Khamzat Chimaev, citing the Chechen's unique approach and mental edge as key factors. According to Baralho, what sets Chimaev apart isn't just his physical tools, but the psychological pressure he imposes on his opponents. He believes most fighters fail to properly prepare for the unorthodox intensity Chimaev brings, often underestimating the mental warfare involved.
Khamzat fighting against Dricus, who do you think he wins?
I think Khamzat is gonna win because I don't see anyone preparing properly for Khamzat. They are bringing wrestlers to train them to defend takedowns and all that, but Khamzat doesn't do the normal stuff. Khamzat doesn't do wrestling. He does MMA wrestling. It's different. You need to understand his system, what he wants next. You need to understand this first, and then you start to prepare for him. And I think Khamzat is gonna win.
Moving on, Lucas Tracy is siding with DDP in the matchup, but with clear conditions. If you're picking Chimaev, you're banking on him getting it done in the 1st or 2nd round. Beyond that point, the fight becomes unpredictable. Tracy called it an easy fight to break down on paper, but also a dangerous one for Khamzat. The early rounds belong to Chimaev, but the longer it goes, the more the momentum could swing, and that's what makes this a scary matchup for the undefeated contender.
All right, Khamzat versus Dricus. You gotta go with Khamzat Chimaev, brother. You gotta go with Khamzat, right? The thing is, we all know that if you pick Khamzat, you're picking him by 1st or 2nd round sub. If you're picking Dricus, you're picking him to win if it goes past the 1st round, the past 2nd round. So, yeah, I mean, it's not the most difficult fight to break down. It is a pretty scary matchup for Khamzat, though. I mean, Dricus du Plessis knows what he's getting into. Everyone knows what they're getting into with Khamzat. He's going to shoot a takedown in the first 10 seconds. He's going to get you down. But I find myself just believing in Dricus du Plessis' ability to survive. And therefore, if he does survive, I think he has a great chance of destroying Khamzat, finishing him in the later rounds. Dricus is kind of a nightmare matchup. I mean, I know some people may say it's Cal Baraujo, but Baraujo, yeah, he's good and he's skilled and he's well-rounded, but du Plessis is all of that, but he has the mentality of the champion. Like, he has the true champion's mentality.
Reinforcing that perspective, Robert Whittaker sees a clear path to victory for Dricus du Plessis if the fight reaches the later rounds. He believes that unless Khamzat Chimaev can put DDP away early, the momentum will swing in du Plessis' favor. Whittaker pointed out that DDP has a habit of winning fights when they go the distance, and made it clear du Plessis isn't going anywhere. If Khamzat can't finish it fast, Whittaker's betting on DDP to take over and secure the win.
Can DDP drag it into those later rounds? Can he get through the first wrestling grappling exchanges? If Chimaev can't get DDP out of there, DDP wins. Like DDP wins almost every fight. You can't get rid of him, right? Honestly, dude, he's not going anywhere.
Meanwhile, Joe Rogan brought a more open-ended approach, pressing genuine intrigue over the matchup's unpredictability. He praised Chimaev's long-range wrestling shots and flawless technique, but pointed to endurance as the key battleground that could determine the victor.
I would give DDP the advantage over Khamzat right now. Not to bet on it.
It's hard to say because
hard.
We don't know what happens.
There's so many question marks. We don't know.
Khamzat just shoots from like 15 feet away and gets a hold of your
But
legs.
I look at the Kamaru. He didn't do that to Kamaru Usman. He didn't do it to Gilbert Burns. We go in the third, fourth, and fifth.
He gave Usman for the first 3 rounds a nightmare. He was
He
taking
out,
him down.
but he couldn't finish him. That's
true.
an older Usman.
Styles make fights, and you never seen Dricus fight a good wrestler, and Khamzat's one of the best. So
And you got to think his endurance is probably going to be better at 85 than it was at 70 because of the cut.
Yeah.
For Khamzat, it's like 85 is really where he should have been all along. Right. Dana White confirms Khamzat Chimaev is next.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's before the fight. Before the fight, though.
I wonder where that is. That's got to be Vegas,
I'll
right?
tell you, Khamzat? No,
Saudi
that's
Arabia.
going to be in Saudi Arabia.
You think so? I think he's got a UAE passport now.
He admitted to always being eager to see more of Chimaev in action, praising the precision and execution in his performances. Rogan stated that the techniques performed by Khamzat are flawless, underscoring just how impressed he's been with the rising star's skill set since day one.
Do you know who Khamzat Chimaev is?
Yes.
I can't wait to see that fight again. Can he fight again tomorrow? When he's like, I killed him all. Dude, he is a freak of nature. He's really smart. He knows what to do. He's got sick timing. Got a super genius fight mindset. Like you watch him fight, he doesn't make any mistakes. I think he's had 3 or 4 fights in the UFC. He's only been hit twice. He's just a swarm.
Teach him jiu-jitsu. They're gonna Khamzat Chimaev's the best example of that.
Yeah.
You teach a guy like that submissions, he already knows how to ragdoll people. So he has this ability to take everybody down, and then on top of that, he's gonna break your neck. Like it's like that extra. I think wrestling is like the foundation. Snoop, the word is he's even better than you've seen. The word is by people who train with him. They're like, dude, he is a freak of nature. He's a freak of nature. He's really smart. He knows what to do. He's got sick timing. He's just like he's got a super genius fight mindset.
Even Dricus du Plessis acknowledged Chimaev's star power and growing legacy, giving credit where it's due. Still, DDP made it clear that he's equally dangerous and eager to prove that his name belongs alongside MMA's elite when the cage door closes.
I know they want, because Khamzat has a massive following, Khamzat is a big name, the hype is there, deserving. Khamzat is a special fighter. And I believe that once he fights me, that's when people will really see how special I am. And I was looking forward to having that fight.
Do you
I
think,
saw that.
but how in the world can you think that people still don't recognize how special you are after what you've done now, right? Because you and I, we've spoken about this publicly.
Yes.
You beat Robert Whittaker, oh, something's wrong with Robert. He's not the same guy, right? You go out there and you beat Sean Strickland. Well, that was really close, so maybe. Then you finish Israel Adesanya when nobody was finishing Israel Adesanya. And then people oh yeah, okay. This dude's the real deal. You still think though that there is a section of people that you still gotta show that you're that guy, like you're that dude?
More myself and the believers than anybody else.
Furthermore, Du Plessis emphasized that despite Chimaev's unbeaten record, his resume outside of Robert Whittaker lacks top-tier competition. He reminded fans that MMA isn't just about grappling, and that anything can happen when the cage door's shut.
Khamzat is an incredible fighter. Nobody has been able to beat him, but he hasn't fought anybody of note other than Robert Whittaker. That is it. This is not a grappling competition. I am not the best grappler or wrestler or striker. When we mix it all up, I am. That's why I have this. He couldn't even get a title at welterweight. Now he wants to come to middleweight. Great, let's go.
I want to do what is expected, because do I want double champ status? Absolutely. But I'm willing to earn that. If there's contenders that make sense, I don't want to fight contenders that doesn't make sense. Fighting guys that deserve the title shots makes sense.
Adding to that, Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson weighed in with a striking focus prediction, stating that if the fight stays on the feet, Du Plessis could very well outstrike Chimaev, exposing potential vulnerabilities in Khamzat's stand-up game.
It's going to be a sick fight because we know what Khamzat's going to do. You know he's going to go out there, he's going to look to, right? Yeah. He does a good job of, I don't want to say posing on the feet, but when he fought Kamaru Usman, when he fought Robert Whittaker, everybody he's fought besides Gilbert Burns, him went toe-to-toe on the feet. But I think Khamzat loves to soul Khamzat, because I think if it does stay on the feet, I think DDP can outstrike him, because Khamzat does have a rhythm to him, and he's not very, bop, 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 bop. Like, he doesn't really throw a lot of combinations, but I think that's the fight to make, and they're going to make that fight happen.
Adding his perspective, Kamaru Usman noticed that based on his recent performances, Khamzat Chimaev won't be bringing anything particularly special or new to the table, but he still expressed confidence in the fact that Chimaev's wrestling would still be effective against Du Plessis. However, Henry Cejudo took a more cautious approach, questioning whether Chimaev could keep down a fighter like Du Plessis, who excels at scrambling.
But Khamzat, it just goes to show Khamzat Chimaev is the real, like I said, he is special, but
could he pull that same style against a guy who likes to wrestle against Dricus Du Plessis? Because I will say this,
1000%.
On top of this, I will say this,
1000%.
Could he get him down 100%? But could he keep him down? The guy likes to scramble. The guy's just not going to stay there.
Taking the grappling debate further, MMA Guru pointed out that Du Plessis isn't easy to dominate on the mat. He suggested that DDP will be constantly scrambling and looking to reverse positions, possibly even threatening with a back take if Chimaev overcommits.
I could see Dricus winning. Chat, yes or no, most underrated part of Dricus Du Plessis' game, jiu-jitsu. He actually scrambles really well from bottom position, really well. He's not going to let himself get mounted. He'll roll for like a leg and like that, you know what I'm saying? He'll roll for a leg, threaten a heel hook, and then use it to get back up and try and get back control. Like, he's actually really good at that shit.
I will say this about the Chimaev getting a title shot thing. He's going to get one. He's beaten great names. He just did what he did to Whittaker. He's a huge star. We're in a world where Amavov just knocked out Israel Adesanya on the feet. And before...
DDP's coach Morn Visser argued that Chimaev hadn't done enough to warrant a title shot and gave credit to Du Plessis for doing the real damage to Whittaker long before Chimaev ever got his hands on him.
His one over Robert was also kind of ridiculous, because Robert went in that fight with broken teeth, which Dricus did. Dricus broke his jaw and his teeth, and then so what has he done? I don't even think he deserves a title shot. So he shouldn't say anything. He should just rock up, get his hiding, so we can get this over and done with.
Visser also made it clear that they've been preparing for a ground war. Despite Chimaev being a world-class wrestler, Visser insisted that DDP is ready to meet him where he's strongest and beat him there.
Khamzat's a wrestler. We want to fight him on the floor. So that's the only way to prove that you're a real champion. Beat the guys. It's MMA. It's not boxing. It's not wrestling. It's not grappling. So you've got to fight. If you think you're better than the other guy as an MMA fight, you've got to fight him obviously where you good at, but we good everywhere. Dricus can wrestle, grapple, his ground and pound is good.
As the clash between Dricus du Plessis and Khamzat Chimaev draws closer, opinions remain sharply divided. While some see Chimaev's explosiveness and technical prowess as the keys to an early finish, others believe du Plessis' relentless pressure and durability could shift the tide in the championship round. Whether it ends in a storm of takedowns or a late round rally, one thing is certain, this showdown isn't just about the belt, it's about legacy. Drop your predictions in the comments. Will it be Chimaev's dominance or du Plessis' resilience that reigns supreme? Let's hear it. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update on the biggest fights in MMA.